Greetings ladies and gents, welcome back to the channel, The Brick Sweethearts. We are back once again with another Speed Champions review. If you haven't done so far, make sure to subscribe to the channel as we've been releasing quite a few videos now, and I'd say a few weeks have gone since we've did the Speed Champions Mega Review, and already we've added 2 new cars to the collection and they each have their own review video. So we have the McLaren Formula 1 team and the Lamborghini Vision GT. So make sure to go back and check out those videos. But now we are back at the racetrack with this next gen Chevrolet Camaro NASCAR. Slightly different than our usual Formula 1 teams. We are now going across the pond to US of A and looking at some proper American muscle. Now preliminarily, just looking at the box itself, it doesn't look that it's going to be too much of a complicated build. It's a pretty standard shape box car. So let's see if they've added anything interesting to this build and if there's anything new in technique wise. And I'll see you after the build and I'll give you my thoughts. We are now back with the finished set, and oh boy, what a striking, visually appealing car this is. Hopefully the details come out on the camera. I would highly recommend you try and find this in the Lego store and give it a look. It is very appealing in while you're holding it in your hand. Let's get into the review. I have quite a few things to say. I'll quickly run through the actual build itself. It is an interesting build. It's surprising and quite unusual. As you might see, it is a pretty boxy looking car, so to be honest, I wasn't really expecting much apart from putting on a few panels here and there with some bricks and studs on the side, and that would be it. But even here, it really surprised me. And I kind of want to bring in a few things that I said from the Lamborghini video that I did last week, so make sure to check out that video. It will help give a bit more context. The general gist that I had was aesthetically, I did not like the Lamborghini. This one, aesthetically, it's great, so I give it props to that. I now kind of understand why they decided to choose the Lamborghini. It had interesting shapes, interesting techniques had to be used to create those shapes, and although it may not be the best to look at in person, the actual car, the set itself was really fun to build and interesting to learn new things to create the various shapes that were used. That kind of worried me in a sense because in my Mega review, if you've seen that video, I was complaining that there wasn't really a lot of classical cars in the Speed Champions theme. As I've said before, modern cars are technologically pretty decent. They have amazing speeds, cornering abilities, all that technology, they're great. But they also lack a bit of the artistic touch, that aesthetic feel that some of the classical cars used to have. Even though they weren't amazing when it came to the engineering, they did have something that even today people go back and reminisce about them. So when I got the Lamborghini, it obviously made sense why Lego would choose it. The intricacies really work well with Lego in terms of bringing you new techniques and new ways to build. So when I saw this, NASCAR Chevrolet here, the Camaro, to a certain degree I was a bit worried that because of its actual shape in real life, it would be a bit boring. It is, after all, just a box and a few panels around it. But somehow, Lego have managed to actually make this square little rectangle quite interesting to build. I was surprised and impressed by some of the techniques that were used here, even though I'm not sure if you actually needed them because you could probably make it a more simplified build. However, they did manage to impress me, especially when it comes to the bumpers and how they integrated together with this interesting clear spoiler that they have. Hopefully it comes up. So to a certain degree, it gave me new hope that even though some of the older cars may not have the most intricate designs like some of the modern vehicles, and especially that concept car that was for the Lamborghini, they can still make older cars with more simple shapes interesting with the techniques that they use to build underneath. Now, when it comes to this car specifically, generally we prefer printed pieces, but I think the visuals are striking enough here that I'm willing to overlook the fact that it did require quite a few stickers. Hopefully they're coming up there. And I really want to point out this wonderful American flag piece. Let me see if I can get some light up there. Ooh, that's a bit bright. But hopefully you can see that the engine cover here is in fact a printed American flag, which is very wonderful to see, I have to say. Lego did a really good job on that flag. Now let me just quickly fix this light, it's a bit too bright for us now. So once again, I have been surprised by the actual build. Visually, this car is quite striking, and I can understand why Lego is choosing certain cars here and there. And this gives me hope for the future that they can still go back and find some classical cars while also being able to give them some interesting building techniques. If you manage to find this car when you're going either to the Lego store or maybe to your local third-party toy store, we managed to get this on a pretty decent deal. I have to say, Speed Champions are constantly being put either on sale or their prices are just being dropped. I'm not entirely sure if there is a reason behind that, but I do see a lot of people picking them up. They are definitely something to look out for, and this one specifically will look great in your collection. The color palette with this, I believe it's like a sea aqua green, a nice little purple, and the yellow flames are just fantastic to look at. This will be probably, you know, your centerpiece for your Speed Champions theme until they get newer, you know, race cars that might have even fancier decals on it. I hope you like this video. I had a great time building this. Highly recommend it that you pick this up. If you were to choose between the Lamborghini and this Chevrolet Camaro, definitely recommend this over the Lamborghini just because it has the visuals and the interesting techniques, while the Lamborghini was more of a interesting techniques but visually still kind of lacking to a certain degree. Drop down in the comments below what you think about this car. Have you picked it up and have you managed to build it? Don't forget to subscribe, we have plenty more videos coming out. And next week we have another Speed Champions review. It will be the third car that we managed to pick up, so make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that. I hope you're having a wonderful evening, and until next time folks, take care.